Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to this video. You've already seen the title, so I'm going to be going over my September reads and what I thought about them. There were actually, I rated them all pretty high. Some of them, like I read an entire series that I read whenever I was a kid, and I'm excited to go over them. I have a lot of books that I am really excited to get into for October, so that is going to be the next video that comes out, my TBR for October. So let's get into this. I have this entire stack right here, plus I think two more books that I read on Kindle. So I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 books that I read in September, which is not bad. I did definitely stop, like I wasn't reading in the beginning of September because I was so busy. I started with a series that I read as a kid. I know I mentioned that earlier. And that one, like I literally binge read it. I ordered all of the books and then binge read all of them. Okay, so this is the Adventurers Wanted series, and I'll show you each of the covers, but basically, I don't know how I want to explain this. It's a YA fantasy series, and I read it, like it started coming out whenever I was a kid. Like this whole entire series is very nostalgic for me. So I rated it overall a 4 out of 5 stars. But it's not necessarily because usually I'm a really big stickler for like the way it's written and how well it's written. But this one, it just felt like one of those worlds in a book where it just like speaks to you. I don't know what it is, but like this whole world that this author, M.L. Forman, like writes within, it's very like Lord of the Rings-esque, but younger. So basically the whole story is about this 15-year-old that's living with his stepdad and his stepbrother. And he's just like kind of wanting for something more. He's very like bored with life. He's like, is this really like all there is? And he joins this adventure with 7 other people. So it's this group of 8, and they are going to find this dragon, Slathbog. I don't even know how you actually say that, but that's the first book, Slathbog's Gold. And they're trying to find his like legendary treasure that he's amassed over however many years. There's a bunch of like battles along the way. He learns a lot about himself, what it means to be an adventurer, and all of the things that go along with that. And it's just like, and like all of the side characters, they all have like their own personalities, and they're so like, it's just so, it could have gone on for so long. I think that's also part of why I love this whole world so much, is like there's an endless amount of adventures and like stories, books that could have come out of this, but the author passed away. And I can't tell you like how sad that makes me, because it's just like, even though the fifth one, this is the 5th, the Acts of Sundering, even though the 5th book like concludes and it has like a good ending, like it still feels like there's so many unanswered things, and I don't want that to be like something that puts you off from reading the series, but it just makes me so sad. Like every couple of years I had to like tune back into this series, and I would reread it each time because he was coming out with more books. So I guess last month I looked it up because I had been waiting on the 5th book to come out. Whenever I did, I saw the posting that said that the author had passed away. So there's like, I don't know if he was working on a 6th book. I don't know if like that was the original plan, was to conclude after 5 books, or what. It's so hard to describe how I feel about this series. It's just so nostalgic. I love it. Usually I'm not like very big into like a male main character, being so young especially, but I just love it. I love everything about it. So anyway, I have all 5 books. I binge read all 5 of them right after one another, and I'll just go through them really quick. So the first one, like I said, is Slathbog's Gold, The Horn of Moran, Albrecht's Tomb, Sands of Neza, Acts of Sundering. Like I think about this series so much for some reason, and I just wish there were more. I think this could have been like a 10-book series easily, with how like large the world is. It's got goblins, it's got dwarves, it's got elves, it's got dragons, it's got everything. It's got wizards. And that's a major point in the book. I'm just sad it stopped. All right, moving on. The next one that I read actually was another YA book. I guess I was kind of on a YA kick this month. The next book that I read was The Inheritance Games. And this really brings me back to like my Nancy Drew kick whenever I was growing up. Like I loved mystery books and figuring out like all of the clues and stuff. So The Inheritance Games, I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this one. It's so fast paced. It's not even like you're reading. It's just like you're like skimming through. It's so quick. I loved all the puzzles that comes in it, and like trying to figure out all of these different clues that are in this one. It's just like, it's so good. It was so good. I really was impressed with the writing style that Jennifer Lynn Barnes has in this book, and I just bought the next 2 books in the series. So I will be finishing those, I think, in October. But this book is about this girl that basically inherits this random billionaire's money, and she goes through and like she moves into his house with his whole family that's still living there, and she's trying to figure out like how is she tied into this random guy that she's never met. She doesn't know who he is, and she's dealing with all of the 4 grandsons. It's really good. Like I said, it was a 4 out of 5, and I like flew through it. I think I read it in like a few hours. I mean, it's very quick. Definitely would recommend that one. The next book that I read was on Kindle Unlimited. It's Broken Bonds, and I rated it a 5 out of 5 stars. And now that I'm thinking about it, it might be a 4 out of 5. But I'm going to stick to it because that's how I felt whenever I wrote the review. So it's a 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this one. It's not going to be like an everyone's cup of tea though. And I recognize that. So I'm just going to give you a heads up now that it's like it's an urban fantasy, but it's a reverse harem. And if you don't know what that means, it's basically one girl and multiple guys in like some sort of romantic relationship. So in this one, I'm gonna see if I can explain it well enough without giving anything away. But basically in the very beginning, this girl is dragged back to her hometown, and she had been like on the run for so many years. She's forced back to her like fated mates, like they're like your soulmates, they're bonded to you. And her being like the central bond, she's connected to like these different guys. She like comes back, is like going to school, but she's also dealing with her past, why she ran away. It's a very strong female main character, which I'm obsessed with. You know I am. And it leaves in a cliffhanger, which I'm surprised I haven't gotten to the second book actually yet, because I was blown away in what happened at like the last 50-ish pages. A lot of magic, like powerful, like powers and stuff. Definitely interesting. I'm very excited to see where it goes. I think that's like what I was most excited about, is because I could see it getting even better. I don't know that I explained that very well, but we're gonna go on to the next one. So the next book that I read is By a Thread by Lucy Score. So this one I've seen like everywhere, all over TikTok. Everyone talks about Lucy Score and how great of an author she is. This one I've had it for a while. It's just kind of been sitting on my TBR, but I finally get around to it. I rated this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy it a lot. There were just some things that I wasn't a massive fan of. For one thing, it's huge. For a romance, I don't feel like it needs to be this long. And for what happens in the book, I don't understand why it's so long. It's literally, with the bonus epilogue, which you can choose not to read, is 548 pages for a romance book. And I didn't really get that. Basically the whole reason why this book was written. I didn't like one of the 2 main characters all that much. It is like a boss and employee relationship, even though at first it's not. Like it gets into a boss and employee relationship, and that part I thought was really cute and fun and interesting, but it was just the main character, like something about him I just wasn't vibing with. I loved all the side characters. I wish there was actually more of their personalities in it than the main male character, but this one is basically about this girl that's working a bunch of like part-time jobs in order to pay for her dad's like nursing home care, and like that's very expensive, so she's trying to work a bunch of different part-time jobs in order to pay for that. And as she's working one of those jobs at a pizzeria, the main male character comes in and he's very grumpy, he's hateful, he's an asshole to her, so she's an asshole right back, and he gets her fired. Later on, she ends up working for him at this fashion label, and that part is very interesting. It's just, I just don't know what it is really about the main male character. I just wasn't really vibing with him, but I mean, it was still really good. I just wish it wasn't quite that long. I don't think it needed to be that long, but definitely a good one. I would recommend this one. Right, this one is pretty obvious. If you've watched my other video, you know exactly how I feel about this. Fourth Wing was a definite 5 out of 5 stars. I loved literally every single thing about this. Fantastic. Dragons, main female character is incredible. I loved the love interest. I loved everything about it. I loved the side characters. I loved the world building. It didn't even feel like I was reading a book. It felt like I was there right alongside her, and I flew through this book. I loved it so much. If you want to see more of my reactions to this book, go watch my other video. I would definitely recommend. It is very much worth the hype. And the next book that I read was People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This is my first Emily Henry book too. And I know she's very big on TikTok right now. The same thing with like her other books, Beach Read and Happy Place. I have Beach Read and I will probably get to that soon. But this one, I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. I loved how fucking funny this was. I literally was giggling and laughing so hard at how they talk to each other and like all of their travels and like what they did and how they talked. They're just so fucking funny in this. And I really wasn't expecting that. I figured it would just be like a silly, goofy, like cute little romance read, but I thought it was hilarious, which never happens for me. It's like a current time, and then the next chapter will be like the past, their past travels together or whatever. So it's like setting the scene and it keeps going back and forth. And I feel like the way it was set up was just a little bit dramatic, but I still really, really, really enjoyed it. I don't know if I said this, but it was a 4 out of 5 stars for me. I really love the two main characters. I laughed every, like, I feel like I was laughing at every page with the way that they talked and the things that they got into with their travels. So I would definitely recommend, if you like friends to lovers, this is a very good one. It's just so cute. This one was really cute. All right, and the last book that I read for September was Broken Fae, and that one is the 4th out of 5 books in the Kings of Nyaxia series. I'll put it right here. I would give that a 4 out of 5 stars. We were really hooked on the 4 out of 5 stars, I think, for this whole entire month. Okay, so I'm going back through and like making sure I had covered everything that I wanted to for this video, and just realized that the Broken Fae book that I was just talking about, it is not Kings of Nyaxia. That is not the series. I literally don't know what I was thinking and why that was confused in my head, because that's what I've thought it's been this entire time. It is Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac. Where did I get Kings of Nyaxia? I don't even know. But anytime you hear me saying Kings of Nyaxia in the next clip, I'm insane. Don't listen to me. It's Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac. I'm so sorry. I have a little bit of beef with this series because I feel like the main plot is just a little bit too drawn out. It kind of makes me want to just get to it. Like, come on, we're 4 books in. How have we not resolved this one thing yet? But I love it still. This is another one where it's like a reverse harem, but it's a spicier version basically than the other book that I said, the Broken Bonds. They're very similar in name. I know that might get confusing. So the other one was Broken Bonds. This one is Broken Fae by Caroline Peckam, and I can never remember the second author, but they both write it, I think. But I'll put it right here. It's hard to talk about this one because I'm so far deep into the series and what's going on, but this one left in a very big cliffhanger, and I have a lot of hope. I have a lot of hope for things to be happening in the 5th book that will make me very happy, and it might be a 5 out of 5 stars. We'll see. This whole series has been like a months long journey for me. For some reason, I could never just sit and read it all the way through. It was always like I'll read a little bit here and there, like in between books. So I think it's just more of like a palate cleanser for me. I don't know if that's like the right terminology I would want to use, but it's one of those books where you can just like hop right back into it. There's not a whole lot that you have to like keep remembering, because the author is really good about like bringing things back in that remind you of what's been going on. So it's not a whole lot of things you have to remember, basically. It's a series within the Zodiac Academy universe. I think it's the same world, and I hope I'm not telling you wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the same world. It's just these are like the different characters and like a whole different plot from the main Zodiac Academy series. For some reason, I couldn't get into the Zodiac Academy series when I tried a couple months ago. So that's whenever I hopped into this one. So maybe once I finish the Kings of Nyaxia series, then I will be able to get into the Zodiac Academy. But I saw the books for Zodiac Academy at Barnes & Noble the other day, and they were massive. Like talking huge. And I think there's like, I don't know if there's like 8 books in the Zodiac Academy. And I don't know if I want to open up that can of worms. But anyway, those were all of the books that I read in September. I had actually really good reviews for all of these books, considering usually I rate at least 1 or 2 like really low. But this one was a pretty good one. So here coming out soon, I have another video for my October TBR and what I plan on reading this month. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to continue some old series that I've been getting into. If you have any books that you think that I should read, drop them in the comments. Let me know. Make sure you're following me on Instagram. It's the same username, at somewhereinthereads. Be sure to like and subscribe this video so you know when my October TBR comes out. It should be coming out next week. And I will see you in the next video.